Hey guys, it's been a minute since I've been back from London, England, Scotland, Durham, Glastonbury, Salisbury, Newcastle, Inverness, and Edinburgh. I just got back from the most amazing United Kingdom tour ever. And it's been a minute since I've talked about it, but I'm actually pre-surgery. And pre-surgery, they won't let me take vitamins, they won't let me take sleeping pills or Advil or anything. So it's been longer for me to get over my jet lag. That, and I got back from my trip and I went straight into work. And I'm just like, record? Who? What? Not interested. But yes, I had the blessing to go on a United Kingdom trip with my friend Michael and my friend Robert. Robert has always been a friend of mine since I first started doing drag. He used to come to the shows. But Robert doesn't come out that often. And so I never really got close to Robert. But Michael and Robert have been best friends for 26 years. They invited me on their tour. And this tour they had been planning for at least a year. And they invited me and it was amazing. My biggest regret was I did not get to hang out with Lady P. I thought, for some reason, I had it in my mind that we were going to London. The reality is we flew into London and that's it. We rented a car at the London airport and we drove straight to Bath. Like the Roman bathhouse baths. Not the gay bathhouse bath, but the real like co-ed baths. Yeah, it was fun. We stayed at the McDonald Spa and Resort. The McDonald Spa and Resort was my favorite hotel the entire trip. The staff was amazing. The girl that worked at the counter I thought looked like she could be Adele's cousin or sister. And the guy at the counter, the bellhop, I really had a crush on. His name was Jeremy and he was so sweet and very, very helpful. I really didn't bring drag, meaning I didn't bring wigs, I didn't bring high heels, I didn't bring makeup. But I'm very androgynous, so he was confused. I remember I asked Jeremy where the bathroom was, and he goes, oh yes, you're going to go down this hall, and the men's and women's bathroom are on either side. Because he had no idea which bathroom I was going to use. And it was funny to me. But we had a great time. So that was our home base for the first couple days, was the resort in Bath. And then on the way to Bath from the London airport, you have to realize, as Americans, we drive on the right side of the road. Europeans drive on the wrong side. One of the people, I'm not going to say who, was driving the car from the airport to Bath, and he was overcompensating and going very, very far left and ended up curbing it so fiercely that he popped two tires, the front and back left tire. It was a fiasco. Thank God his timing was perfect. We were right in front of a car dealership. They did not have tires. They had to order them for us. But long story short, there was a gym. There was a garage, and they were able to fix it. And we ended up getting to Bath. Bath is a gorgeous little town. So, so, so pretty. The roads, however, are so, so, so scary. Actually, all of the London countryside, or England's countryside, the roads are very, very scary. Day 2, after the 2 flat tire incidents, my friends decided I was the one going to drive. And it's funny because I wasn't even going to be a driver. But at the airport in London, actually London, in the London airport, I said, do you want to add me as a driver? I don't mind. They were all like, you're driving. Because they liked my driving much better. But they were both, well, one more than the other was definitely a backseat driver and screaming the whole time, like, And I was like, and I was like, oh my God, Michael, I see it. I see it. If it's in front of me, I see it. You don't have to yell. You don't have to. If something's coming from the side or behind me, then yell because I don't know what's happening. But if it's in front of me, I see it. It was a unique kind of stress. But I took a couple videos of me actually driving just to freak out my passengers because they're like, oh my god, you're multitasking on this little dirt road in the United Kingdom. We're going to die. It was so much fun. I don't know if you saw my Instagram, but most of the roads are two-way traffic. Well, I guess it would be this, like this. But really skinny, like one-lane roads with two-way traffic. And you literally have to pull over if somebody's coming. Driving in London is scary. And they're curvy roads, so it's scary, like, oh my god, I'm about to crash.
Is that the Pelican Inn or whatever? What is that?
That's the Boot Inn.
Okay, so
That's the Buddha and the Pelican Inn. It's not too far away, I'm sure.
Oh, these roads kill me.
2 miles away.
Yeah, we're not going to get in a crash anytime soon.
Girl, please.
Please what?
Don't even talk like that.
I said we're not getting in a crash anytime soon.
there's a nice. They have llamas.
Those spitting things?
Yeah, spitting hairy Peruvian camels. There's spitting hairy Peruvian camels without humps. You just step and we go.
That's attractive.
Very.
Show me how manly you are. Okay, that's enough. No more. Let's show me how feminine and delicate and ladylike you are.
That's that Big Mike keeps on bothering to do that. Big Mason and I drop our forks at Sally Corinne.
Here in London, the shoulders are alive with strawberry. Oh, these roads scare me. I'm just scared that somebody's gonna come facing me and like going 80 miles an hour thinking that they're so comfortable.
I'm not scared today. It's the extra sentence.
Is that it?
You need to give me something else. You know, I'm not scared. I just want to relax a little more.
Yeah, because you don't sleep enough in the car.
I don't. So
the first day we wake up and we go to Glastonbury. Glastonbury is a really religious town outside of Bath, and it is the home of Glastonbury Tor. Glastonbury Tor in the Middle Ages was called the Isle of Avalon. This is where King Arthur and the Excalibur stone was. So if you look at my videos, I was on the Isle of Avalon where Excalibur did, or King Arthur did the sword and the stone in Excalibur. It was amazing to be part of a historical landmark. There was no parking, so you literally had to walk 3 miles to get to Tor. And then it was like a 3-mile hike straight up a hill, like it was a cliff. And it was very, very, very windy. It was very, very, very cold. It was like Florida hurricane weather winds, but like Alaska temperatures. It was so cold and so windy. And we were doing so much exercise climbing this super steep mountain, we were sweating under our coats. So we got to the top and we were like, because we were freezing and hot and cold. It was confusing, but it was beyond amazing. And this is where the home of St. Michael is. And the tower, or the cathedral tower of St. Michael's Church from like, I think 1200 or 900 or something like that. It's really, really, really old. It's the only part that remains of this church. But it was nice to be up there, and I made it, and I did it. When we got back to Glastonbury. We're in Glastonbury.
Tell me ready for Condé Nast Traveler. You have to do the
Off to pee. Being tour is such a spiritual monument and attraction to tourists from around the world. Glastonbury had a lot of psychic mediums and new age and crystals and thing. It's a very, very spiritual town. Michael and Robert both got their cards read. And I believe in that. I believe in psychics. I definitely do. But at the same token, I've only had psychics come up to me that were like, oh my God, I have to tell you this. And it's always been like, whoa, knock me over the head with that information. It's always been stuff I really, really needed and really, really wanted, but wasn't ready for. Like they just walked up and said, here. So I was kind of a skeptic when I went to this psychic lady, this medium, and I sat down and I was like, I've seen shows and heard stories of where people guide the psychic. And she's like, you like dark colors. Yeah, my favorite color is blue. Don't tell her anything, is what I was thinking. I'm like, if this bitch is real, she's real. If she's not, she's not. Whatever. So I just basically was like, I didn't say yes or no. I just said, okay. Okay. And she started off saying, you are much more sensitive than you pretend to be. And I was like, okay. She's like, you come to me as a skeptic, but you're also psychic. And I'm like, okay. It was so funny. And then, but basically what's funny, more funny, or not even funny at all, the reading was basically confirmation of everything I said in my Alaska recap video, which was recorded before I went to London, or England. I keep saying London. Yeah, my life has been going through a lot of changes in the year 2015, and she was just confirming a lot of that. There was a couple of things that I was actually shocked by, and I actually started crying. I'm a total crybaby this year. I don't cry. I've never been a crier. And I started bawling in the middle of my reading, and but it was mostly confirmation. I wanted her to say stuff like, don't give up on RuPaul's Drag Race, or something like that, or definitely give up, it's a dream you'll never receive. You know, or whatever. She didn't say anything about that. She didn't talk about my love life. She didn't talk about anything future. She actually just confirmed a lot of things going on in my past and my life now, present day, reconfirming a lot of things I've been going through and dealing with and healing from. And yeah, I had a surprise visit from two of my ancestors. And again, being very skeptical, I was like, okay. And she hit that nail right on the head of how one of them died. And whoa. It kind of freaked me out. It was kind of like a Long Island media moment. Although I like her a little better. I wish she was only giving my reading because she's a little more aggressive. But I had an amazing time in Glastonbury. Okay, so day 2 we were in King Arthur's Camelot, Glastonbury, Isle of Avalon. Day 3 we're in 3000 BC, this spiritual, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to describe it, landmark that was there 3,000 years before Christ was there. Oh my gosh. What the heck is going on? It was so amazing to be a part of something so historical. And just look at it. The rocks were 30 feet tall. The big rocks were 30 feet tall and 25 tons. How in the hell did that shit get put like that? Did people do it? Did aliens do it? Well, I don't know. But it's pretty amazing. The best part of that trip for me, however, was when we left Stonehenge. I was driving to this pub. Oh yeah, food in England. You wonder why Americans are fat. I'll give you 2 reasons why we're much more fat than the average English person. Salt. Salt is in everything in America, and it's nothing in England. In fact, most food tasted very, very bland, unless you're eating ethnic food like Thai or Asian or Indian. And it's really hard to find fast food. For example, we would wake up sometimes super early and rush out of the house. For example, to Stonehenge. We got up, I think at 6 o'clock in the morning, and hit it before the breakfast was even served. And then we're like, oh, we'll just catch something on the way. What? There's no McDonald's, no Burger King, no Taco Bell, no nothing. Only the really big cities had like Subways and Taco Bells and stuff, or Burger King, McDonald's. But there's no drive-thrus, and there's no restaurants like... Oh, it's very confusing. And in England, most of the people eat in pubs. If you're not eating at home, you eat in a pub. So you go to a bar and have dinner. Yeah, that was weird to me too. But my best part of the Stonehenge trip was after Stonehenge, I was driving, and when we got to the restaurant, we got early. We were early everywhere. That's just something we did, I guess. It's our thing. Americans were really, really early. Maybe not Americans in general, but we were. Everywhere. In fact, Stonehenge opened at 9:30. We were there at 7. Don't ask. But it's nice to do things early, I guess. Except for when you don't get much sleep and then you're jet lagged for like a week when you come back. But, so we drive to a pub. And when we walk in, Michael asked for a party of 5. He said, we have a reservation for a party of 5. And I was like, wait a minute, there's only 3 of us. He's like, yeah, we're meeting 2 people. He wouldn't tell me who we were meeting. And I just assumed, I didn't care who it was, but I assumed it was friends of Michael's. Meaning, because we met friends of his in Edinburgh, we met friends of his in Durham, you know, just locals to hang out with and show us around. So I just assumed it was that. And then he started joking with me. He's like, yeah, I brought you some tranny chasers. And I'm like, what? Oh, he was making fun of me because my grinder was blowing up. Like literally 190 people a day would message me. But in all fairness, I would get on a train every morning and go to a new town. So it was new people every time. And it was like, he was getting very annoyed and jealous because I was like, so finally I created this thing, say, oh my god, I've got so much ADD right now. I'm not ADD. I haven't even finished my story about the pub. But he was teasing me that it was tranny chasers because I was on Grindr. But it was my friends. It was Justin and Mark. They came to see me and I was so excited. I hadn't seen them since the cruise, and I truly love them. Justin is one of my closest friends in the whole wide world, and I really, really, really love him. In fact, people think that we're brothers, and I think we're brothers too. Obviously we're not, but he's a duchess and I'm a queen. It makes no sense, but it's true. And they surprised me. They drove, I don't even know, like 190 miles to see me. And it was really, really nice. And we had a great lunch. And the weird thing about pubs is dinner takes so long. We were there for like 5 hours having dinner. But it was so great because the company was amazing. I was just annoyed because I didn't have Wi-Fi and I couldn't check my Grindr and upload to Instagram and all that. I'm a mess. Then day 4, we wake up and we get on another train and we go to Durham. Durham is where we met a friend of Michael's named Peter. Peter, okay, we were there for 2 days. Welcome to Durham. How do you say it? Durham? Durham. Durham, 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 Durham. Maybe it was 2 days. And I didn't think Peter liked me. He was very, very tongue-in-cheek or very dry sense of humor and very quick. And if I open my mouth at all, like, I like to sing, and I sing all the time, and I just be like, it wasn't this song, but I was like, the hills are alive, and he'd be like, oh, wow, there's speakers, blah, like, and he would, like, make fun of me every chance he got. So finally, I looked at, I don't remember if it was Michael or Eddie, or Robert, Eddie's Michael's husband, and that didn't go, but Robert or Michael, and I'm like, I don't know what I did to annoy him, but I'm just not going to talk to him. I'm not going to go near him. I like everybody, but I don't want to offend him. I thought I was upsetting him, and he didn't like me, and it was quite the contrary. I think he had been watching my YouTube videos and knew me as Misty Eyez on the screen, but was nervous, or I don't know how to describe it, but he was picking on me, long story short. And I didn't realize he knew who I was. And he was like, I'm with a celebrity, blah, blah, blah. For example, I was getting ready for bed, and I took off my shirt and was wearing underwear, but he's like, oh my god, a celebrity's naked. I'm like, shut up. I'm not a celebrity. But, and Peter showed us around Durham, and that's when we got the best tour of a castle.
Let's see who keeps the curtains.
There's Michael, there's Robert, there's Peter, there's a dorm room. It's lovely. We saw a couple castles, but that was our best tour of a castle. We toured the cathedral on our own. You weren't allowed to take pictures, but as you can see from my Instagram, I might have taken several. But I didn't take any in the castle because we were with a guided tour, and it was actually a university now. They were telling us that the castle had went through stages and whatever, but currently it's a university. And the dorm, the castle is actually a dorm. So it was kind of like the Great Hall where we go into like Harry Potter, and there was pictures on all the walls and stuff. It was just like that. And the students were in there Skyping for one of their projects or whatever. And it was like, oh my god, people are really living here. But that was my favorite castle tour. It was really beautiful. It was the Castle of Durham. And then it was probably, I wouldn't say it's my favorite restaurant, but it was my most memorable. We went to the Golden Pearl, and it was a Thai restaurant. And one of the Thai boys was very, very taken with me. He kept coming up and touching me, like, not here, but on my back and shoulder. And it kept scaring me because we were in conversation, and he laid his hand on my back. I'm like, oh, what? And he got us free food. Not all of it, but he brought us our food and then brought us more food. I don't know, he was very flirtatious and fun. We actually went back to see him, but he wasn't there the day we went back. So that was sad. But it was really cheap and good food. The best castle tour, but Durham had the worst hotel. We stayed at the Sleep Inn, or Premier Sleep Inn. Oh my god, it was like fucking sleeping on cardboard or a park bench. It was so hard. The sheets were so bleached that I was getting rashes on my knees. It was not an enjoyable experience at all. That was the worst hotel of the entire trip. But it was great location. It was so close to the train station. It was so close to walking distance of the town. It was very interesting, but horrible. Even the service was horrible. Even the girl at the front counter, her voice was so like... It was just not an enjoyable experience. The Sleep Inn. The Premier Sleep Inn. But Durham was cute. That was the first time I saw the little tiny streets of the English countryside. And I didn't understand it, but I learned about it in Edinburgh. I'll tell you about it in a second. So then we went the second night. I think Peter, our tour guide, didn't plan anything. I think he was just most excited just to hang out with us. And so he was like, what do you guys want to do? What do you guys want to do? And we're like, we don't know. We're not from here. You tell us what to do. So he was like, well, let's go to a gay bar. So we got on a train, a 10-minute tent train ride to Newcastle. And we had dinner. That was amazing sushi. We had great sushi in Newcastle. We're on another train to Newcastle.
Going back to what with being our school kids. We're going to drive down to Miami as well. We hired a convertible. Spoil ourselves.
Welcome to Newcastle, not the brown ale. And then we went to the Dog, which was a gay bar, and we were the only people there when we got there. Two gay guys came in and they were like actually cruising me. It was really weird. Gay guys don't hit on me, but they were really hitting on me. It was weird. But it was fun. I had a great time in Newcastle, even though it was very cold and very rainy that day. Then we went, I actually had a Newcastle brown ale while I was in the Dog, because while in Newcastle, drink Newcastle. So, that's Newcastle. The next day we got up and we got on the train and we went to Scotland. In Scotland we stopped in Edinburgh. Now, welcome to Edinburgh. Edinburgh, Scotland, in the United Kingdom. We are still in the train station, getting ready to head out. There's Michael. And there is our... Now, it's funny because on Grindr, I met a guy from Scotland who was in Miami, and he's an Olympic athlete with no legs. He is an Olympic athlete in a wheelchair. And we were supposed to meet in Miami. Well, he was going to come over here to my house, but I live on the second floor and I don't have an elevator. So I was like, ugh. But he was staying in South Beach, and it was the night before the cruise this year, like the first week of December. And I was like, oh my God, I can't drive all the way to South Beach. I'm packing. I have to go on this cruise. So I wasn't able to see him while he was here. Well, he hits me up on the train, or on Grindr, while I was on the train to Edinburgh. And he's like, I could either see you in Edinburgh or in Inverness. I'm like, see me in Edinburgh because I have my own room. And when we got to the hotel, it was a cute bed and breakfast called Caledonia. The Caledonia. So I asked him, I'm like, do you have any wheelchair access rooms? So he completely moved my room to the first floor. So I have a wheelchair access shower and a wheelchair access everything. The next day, I had the best trade of my entire trip. Like, literally, I would fly this guy to America and marry him. He was amazing. He had dark hair. He was like 6'5"-ish. Not muscular, but built. Blessed. Wow. And a great lover. And it was funny because he was using European condoms. Well, Durex, which is an international condom. But the condoms you buy in England are actually Scotland. We were in Scotland at the time. Oh, he came 2 hours from England. Yeah, they were making fun of me because guys would come like 2 hours or whatever on to see me. And I'm like, they must not get girls like me in the UK very often. But, so he came 2 hours from England to Scotland to see me and brought Turex condoms, but they were too small for him. And I actually had a Magnum in my bag, and I gave him a Magnum. And he's like, oh my God, I wish they had these here. Because it fit him perfectly. He was good. I wonder if I can get him to visit me in America. Anyways, so Edinburgh. Day 2, Edinburgh. Day 1, we basically unpack and check in, and then we go to we meet our tour guide. Her name was Mary, one of Michael's friends. She took us around town, and she took us to an Indian restaurant there. And that's when I had to leave and go back to the hotel because I had trade with the wheelchair guy. Day 2, I guess everyone was hungover. Is that a good way to say what was happening? So that's when I had the best trade of the week because he could only see me in the daytime because I guess I have a wife. And I'm like, no, I'm sightseeing during the day. I'm doing all this shit, blah, 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 blah. Well, that morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, we did go to breakfast and everyone was like, no, you could do whatever you want today. We're not doing anything. We're hungover, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I made an appointment to have trade. And it was really good. And then after that, I guess they were feeling better. And then we decided to do the haunted house tour of Edinburgh. Mary, what are we doing?
We're about to start a haunted tour.
Edinburgh.
Oh my gosh. It was an amazing tour. I think I want to do a haunted tour of every city I ever go to now. Because I learned so much. For example, I learned where kick the bucket comes from. Because you know that kick the bucket means to die, right? Well, it comes from hangings. And they would stand on a bucket and then have this rope or whatever. And when it was time, they would kick the bucket. Anyways, it was a great tour. Our tour guide, his name was Andrew. It was amazing. Meerkat Tours in Edinburgh. You have to try it if you're ever in town. Also, that's when I learned about the streets. Alright, so there's a castle and a palace in Edinburgh. And there's a street that goes from the castle to the palace. And it's called High Street. There's North High Street and South High Street. Depending on where you're going. And from High Street are all these little streets that go down. Well, the streets are literally as big as sidewalks. Yeah. The streets are really small. Some of the streets were called closes, and the closes actually would have a door on the top that would close and a door on the bottom that would close. But yes, and then he explained about how the bubonic plague or the black plague or the black death happened because some of the buildings would be 14, 15 stories high and there was no plumbing. And they would dump their waste out the windows on the streets and on the people. And yeah, it was grody and small. So I learned all about Edinburgh. I didn't do a castle tour in Edinburgh, but I did the underground tour, which was awesome. I will also say Scotland has the best taxi cabs in all of the UK. They were huge, and they fit all of us. We're all big people. Me, Michael, and Robert are all plus size. And then if we had someone with us, like in Scotland, we had Mary, who was also plus size. We fit, and our legs didn't even touch. It was really nice. Then we woke up and we went to Inverness. Inverness is where the Loch Ness Monster happens. The Loch Ness Monster, we did the tour of Loch Ness on a boat. These houses in Scotland are gorgeous.
Yeah.
There's a roof. It looks like Alaska.
I've never been in Alaska.
It is 1,000 meters. Looks beautiful today, covered in snow. And we've climbed it once, never again. On your left.
And we went to a castle, the Urquhart Castle, which was the biggest castle in all of Scotland. But when the Queen of England took over Scotland, they burned the castle down because they didn't want her to have it. But the ruins were still there. And like we went up a couple of the towers and the dungeons and the tour. It was really cute. And my friends were like, you want to see another castle? I'm like, I'm a pretty princess. I want to see castles. It's historical. We were seeing parts of our world that had been there for ages and ages and ages, just like Stonehenge, but of course was built by people and people lived there. I also learned from the locals, not from the Loch Ness tour, but the Loch Ness monster is actually an elephant. Yeah, there was a circus in town, and the circus man was washing or bathing his elephants in the Loch Ness, which is Lake Ness, or the Ness Lake, as we Americans say it. So when elephants are so big and heavy, they kind of swim underwater, but their head, the tops of their heads float and the tops of their backs float, and their tails stick out straight, and their trunks is how they breathe. So they stick that out of the water. And oh my goodness, I actually Googled this to see what it looked like, and I'll see if I can put pictures here. Hello, Loch Ness Monster is an elephant. All this folklore and legend came from elephants taking a bath in the lake. Then it was our trip home, and then the next morning we got on the train. It was literally like the next day. Like, we get into Inverness in the morning, the next morning we get out, and the guys were like, the train people were like, you're not staying here very long. Like, yeah, we came to see Nessie, that's it, we're in it. And, yeah, we were done. So we were going back to London because we had to go to the airport. And we were staying at the Renaissance Heathrow Airport. And we had to take a 9-hour train from the top of Scotland to the very bottom of England or London. On the train again. Today we are doing the longest journey of all trains, from Inverness, Scotland, all the way to London, England. But we are taking a little pit stop in a town called Durham to pick up something we had forgotten. And it was a very long train ride. Literally the sun rose while we got on, and the sun set while we were still on. And we ate lots of sandwich lunches and dinners, and lots of orange juice and coffee. But thank God we got first class because it included food and stuff. Our last sunset in England. We've been on the train since the sun rose this morning, and now we're watching it set. Our Inverness to London trip continues. But yes, that was a quick recap of my tour of the United Kingdom. It was amazing. It was enjoyable. It was such a blessing to be taken care of so much by Michael and Robert. I never felt like a third wheel. They invited me on their vacation, and I never felt like a third wheel. The truth is, I had an amazing time. I'm so glad Robert and Michael invited me and took care of me on that trip. I felt like a pretty princess. I was very taken care of. I was very blessed and honored and privileged to be a part of their journey. And both of them individually had come up to me towards the end and thanked me, telling me that they truly had an amazing time because I was able to enhance their experience, and they were so glad that I was there. But what's funny is, I was joking about this on my Instagram. The entire trip, Michael considered himself a psycho. Robert's obviously a black man, and I'm obviously a tranny. And it was like, okay, have you heard the joke? A black man, a tranny, and a psycho walk into a bar. Alright, stop me if you've heard it. A tranny.
I'm stuck to a faggot.
Okay, ready to go.
A psycho.
And a black man.
Get on a train. And the rest?
It's history.
That's the consensus. It doesn't matter what happens next because we stopped traffic. We definitely left our footprints in the sand all over the United Kingdom, and it was an amazing time. It was so fun, and I'm so glad I did. It was a learning experience, and my English word this time that I learned was gutted. A lot of the guys that I didn't get a chance to meet on the trip would say that they were gutted. I was gutted I can't see you. My last London trip was knackered. I'm feeling a bit knackered. But this time gutted. And fit. A lot of people use the word fit, and I didn't know what that means. I thought it meant like physically fit, but it means beautiful, I guess. Because I'm fit in England, or in the United Kingdom. Anyways, that was my recap, and I guess like a Misty moment because it was really long, like my moments are. But I didn't cry like I usually do my moments. But it was a truly blessed and enjoyable experience, and I'm so glad I was able to go. Loving you, Zizi.